So there are 5 1-minute habits that I use every day as a corporate lawyer to keep me focused on my work for extended periods, even when I lack motivation. It's thanks to these 5 habits that I manage my time in a way that maximizes productivity. I then focus on a task without getting distracted and produce great work. So let's run through these 5 habits in this video. Alright, first up, you need a second brain. You need a place where you store all of the to-do list items from the different areas of your life. So as soon as a to-do list item comes up, I'm at work, busy working, it's my mum's birthday tomorrow, I need to send her a card. I must do that later tonight. Bam, I note it down in my to-do list, get it out of my head. So I'll share the exact system and tools that I use to do this in a second, but first, why is this important? Well, if you want to increase focus, step 1 has to be getting everything else other than the one thing you're working on right now out of your head. Because if you have that lingering thought of I need to send an email right after this, that 10% of your brain that's thinking about that will continually resurface while you're supposed to be focused, distracting you and decreasing the quality of your work. But once it's out of your head and in your second brain, you no longer need to think about it. You know it's there, you're going to be able to come to it later. But for now, it's time to focus on the task you're actually supposed to be doing. So my second brain system has 3 parts, and the first is avoid new tasks. So when I'm in a focused work session, I will not open my emails, if at all possible, for 30 to 60 minutes to avoid thinking about that new task. I then need to jot it down in my second brain. I avoid all of that by just not looking for new tasks or at things that might give rise to new tasks during my work sessions. Even in a high intensity job like mine as a corporate lawyer, it's very rare there's something that needs my urgent attention and can't wait 30 to 60 minutes. Second, you need to build categorized to-do lists. So I personally use Trello, but you can use whatever to-do list app you use. Create different lists for different areas of your life. You need at least general and work. I also have a separate list for business and YouTube. And I do have an entire course on how I built my second brain, my to-do list in Trello. So go and check that out if you're interested. It's over on Skillshare. And then finally, you need to set up one-tap access. So I have shortcuts to add to-do list items to each of the lists in my Trello board on my phone, my work phone, and my iPad, meaning that wherever I am doing focused work, I can very quickly add a to-do list item. It takes literally no more than 10 seconds. Get that item out of my head as quickly as possible so I can return to focused work. Now, if you work in an office or a cafe or on your commute even, you are being distracted by background noise, often without you even realizing, and this is reducing the quality of your work. And this is backed up by a ton of studies, including a 2020 study by researchers Huang and El Havali. They studied 81 people, testing the impact of loud noises on people's ability to focus, and found that loud noises in the background activate the same part of the brain as sounds we choose to listen to. Essentially, hearing a loud background noise like someone starting a new conversation with a colleague in the office or picking up the phone diverts your brain's attention to that noise. Really importantly, this draws you out of or just prevents you getting into a state of what Cal Newport calls deep work, which is where you do your highest quality work. And the solution is simple: block out noise. So first, buy yourself a pair of noise cancelling headphones. I have both AirPods Pro for when I'm in the office. They look a bit less, he really doesn't want to be disturbed. So people can disturb me if they need me urgently, but it keeps me in focus mode when I'm in the office. Or I have a pair of Bose noise cancelling headphones as well for when I'm working from home. Those really do block out all background noise, even if Beth's on a call next to me. Second, you then need to build a habit of wearing them every work session. It's pretty easy to think it's silent right now, so I'm just going to go about my work, but when it's silent, you don't know when there's going to be a distracting noise, and that distracting noise is going to be even more distracting when it breaks through the silence. So at the start of every work session, get into a habit of putting your noise cancelling headphones in when you want to do deep work, and finally listen to non-distracting sounds. So the gold standard is an app like Endel, which has scientific engineered sounds to improve focus, and I listen to this for hours every day, but you can listen to white noise on YouTube or create your own Apple Music playlist. The only rules with music, I would say, are no heavy beats and no words in your language. I had a playlist including a load of Icelandic music that I listened to for probably 5 years on repeat. There were like 65 songs. I listened to those a lot, so much so that Apple still thinks they're my favorite songs. But the important thing is that frequency of listening really means you no longer really hear the music and you just focus on your work. All right, next up, the thing that has pretty much completely stopped me from going on this while I'm working over the last few months now, and that is what I think is one of the biggest iOS iterations I've ever seen: focus modes. These have been a total game changer for me. So focus modes, if you have an iPhone, are pretty easy to set up. You just go into settings, set up your focus modes. I have 3 focus modes, one for when I'm working. So when I get close to the office, it automatically turns on. I can also turn it on when I'm working from home, and it blocks pretty much all of my notifications other than messages from really key people in my life. It also blocks a bunch of my most distracting apps. Second, I have a focus mode for fitness. So even when I was working out before, I found that I get distracted looking at emails, messages, Instagram, when I'm supposed to be working out. So now I've used the focus mode to increase my focus while I'm working out, to get me in the zone, focused on my workout, enjoying doing my workout, listening to my podcast or my audiobook, and doing nothing else. And that means my fitness focus mode just has workout apps and stuff I like to listen to while I'm working out. And finally, sleep focus mode, which automatically turns on around 11:45. I usually go to bed around 12:15, 12:30. I can manually turn it on earlier if I want to. Basically makes my phone really bland and boring and very undopamine-y so that I can unplug before I go to bed. Now, before we go on to my other 1-minute habits, I want to plug a tool that you'll now be able to focus on without distractions to create your own web apps from scratch in a couple of minutes without writing a single line of code using AI. It's called Hostinger Horizons. They are the sponsor of today's video, and it's like having a superhumanly speedy software developer at your fingertips. So procrastinating at the start of the day is bad. So to stop this, I decided a few weeks ago to build a homepage web app in Horizons that I could use every single morning when I get to work to get me focused and motivated. So we start with a prompt. Let's go with build a homepage web app that I can load every time I open my web browser, have a beautiful background image of nature that changes every day, a motivational quote that changes every day, a place in the center for me to write my most important focus for that day, which it will remember the whole day, the time, a place to type 2 things I'm grateful for, and a place to type what exercise I'm doing today. I submit that, and in about a minute, it's now built out the first version. And to be honest, this does look pretty good. It's pretty close to what I asked it to do. But then the thing that's impressed me most with Hostinger Horizons is that it's so easy to perfect what it's built in real time using AI chat. So I can go through tweaking the formatting, adding icons, and getting the exercise section, for example, to give you a motivating fact about the actual specific exercise you've chosen. As I was working on this, I thought it would be pretty cool to add a reminder of how much money I'm earning each day, so that there's a progress bar that ticks up the amount of cash that I'm earning during that day in my job as a corporate lawyer. So I'll add that feature by adding in a place where users can set their location, their salary, the number of days of annual leave they get, and then let the web app continually update to show me how much money I've earned so far in the day. And after playing around with this, I'm now pretty happy with this version of the web app. I think it looks pretty awesome. I'm very happy to start using this. So I just hit publish, and that's now live to access on any web browser with domains and hosting all included in the Hostinger Horizons plan. So if you want to try it out, click the link in the description, choose your plan with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can use the code LiamPorritt for 10% off whichever plan you choose. So jump in and see what awesome web apps you can create using Hostinger Horizons. All right, 4th 1-minute habit is to cap morning admin time. So I think you can think of yourself when you're starting a work session like when you're starting a gym session. So when you get started, you're not yet warmed up, you need to stretch, get in the zone for a few minutes. But once you are warmed up, you then need to do your hardest work while you're fresh, leaving the lighter work for later when you're tired. So the rule is you're allowed a 10-minute warm-up. A 10-minute session to start the day, get some admin done, reply to a few urgent emails that have come in with quick holding responses, and then you are getting to work on the deep work that you want to get done that day. And this combination is so powerful because when we try to start deep work immediately without any warm-up, you often can procrastinate. You feel like, oh, I don't really want to do this right now. It's really difficult. But actually that 10-minute period of admin gets you into the work frame of mind. But then once you are warmed up, you need to get on with your deep work. But spending more than 10 minutes at the start of the day on these light admin tasks, a complete waste of your fresh mind, and you'll end up producing way lower quality work when you try to do those more difficult tasks later in the day when you're tired. And just because I'm good to you like that, bonus 1-minute habit, you should plan at least the first few tasks of the following day the night before. This has 2 benefits. The first is that you get the stuff that you want to do the following day out of your head so you can focus on chilling in the evening without things in the back of your mind. I think I need to do that tomorrow. You can put them in Trello. I personally like to time block the start of the following day in my Filofax. But essentially you just need your first few tasks of the day noted down somewhere so you can start working through those the following day. But then second benefit is you can spend 10 minutes doing a few bits of quick admin, and then you can get to work on the task you plan to do the night before. All right, on to the final 1 minute habit. And before I tell you what it actually is, I want to tell you why this is so important. So in 1927, a psychologist called Arthur Gerseld coined what he called the switch cost effect. Since then, tons of studies have been done into this switch cost phenomenon. And for example, according to David Mayer, shifting between tasks can cause us to lose as much as 40% of our productive time. So what can we practically do to prevent this mental shifting that reduces our productivity and focus? Well, one of the techniques I adopted, I actually took from Jimmy, aka Mr. Beast. He is, I would say, a pretty flippin' productive guy. And that is to batch by project. So Jimmy made clear in this podcast that I listened to that even though he has so much going on, Feastables, main channel videos to make, hiring, firing, finances across all of his businesses, he likes to focus on one project, ideally for an entire day or at least half a day before switching to something else. And that's because there is a huge activation energy cost in switching between entirely different projects where you're thinking in entirely different ways. I find this if I try or have to switch between matters that I'm working on, my brain is incredibly slow to adapt to the new fact pattern that I'm working with. So pretty simple 1 minute solution to this. When I'm planning out my day, I batch my tasks by project. So I'll plan an entire morning where I'm just working on all of the tasks from one project, then in the afternoon and evening, I'll move on to a different matter, and then maybe the following morning, I'll work on the third matter that I currently have going on. That way I have 4 or 5 hour blocks broken up into different tasks, but focusing on the same project in the same headspace. And this massively increases my focus and the quality of my work. All right, these have been the 5 1-minute habits that allow me to stop wasting time, to maintain focus, to stop getting distracted, and to produce insanely high quality work consistently. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like right now because it massively helps the channel get seen by more people. Please do drop a comment down below. As I always say, I do always read all of your comments, and I look forward to speaking again very, very soon. Plus, if you enjoyed this, go and check out one of my other videos that's on screen right now.